Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. It's 9:52 the next morning from yesterday's episode. These are the offending animals. These cows that don't make me any money, darn you. Well, anyway, I've gotten lots of good feedback. Thank you very much for that. And nobody voted for keeping the cows, but I did get several comments saying, sell the cows, get something different. It was generally recommended against horses because, because they take a lot of time to take care of. I was thinking of using the horse helper mod, but yeah, I think we should do something that requires a little more activity. Chickens, I think, would be a pain because you have to manually pick up every box of eggs. So I think until we have a mod that can palletize the eggs, I don't think I want to do chickens. So we're going to go with sheep. Now, if we look at the cows that we've got, I have 22 now. Okay, looks like we just got another one. I've still got 12,000 mixed ration in there and enough water and straw to last. So I think I think they consume 500 a day. So we'll probably consume the rest of the food by the end of the day. So I think I'm gonna hang on until the food is gone, and then I'll sell the cows. I'll sell the pen, and then the silage bales we have over there, we can sell those as well. The hay bales and the straw I will keep because I'm pretty sure that you can feed sheep from bales. Although I'm not positive. Let's see here. And they'll eat grass and hay. So we can keep the hay to feed it to the sheep. We don't have to get rid of it. And then, of course, we can always give them fresh grass. All right, so that's what we'll do. So we'll hang on to the cows until the mixed ration that's already in there is depleted, and then we'll sell them off and switch over to a sheep operation. All right, so my grass is fully harvestable now. I really like the way this meadow looks. It's quite lovely with the rolling hills. And our canola is ready to harvest. So I want to start harvesting today, but before we do that, I am going to upgrade my harvester. Some of the feedback that I got was also in favor of the idea of leasing a mid-ranged harvester. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me reset my camera. There we go. All right, so let's take this over to the shop and sell it. Now, one important point that I didn't discuss yesterday, that was reminded to me by a viewer named Jan from Germany. He mentioned that we have to consider the value when you're comparing purchasing versus leasing. You have to consider the purchase or the sell price of the vehicle when you're done using it, right? And he's absolutely right. So so when we compare the cost of leasing, we can't compare it to the purchase price of the vehicle. We have to also consider how much the vehicle will be worth to sell it at the end. And then you look at the difference between the purchase price and the sell price, and that's what you compare to your leasing costs, right? So in this case, I've had this equipment for 11 days. You can see the Russell mash. The first two items on the list there. I've had them for 11 days, and I've used them for 16 hours, and they're worth now less than half of what I originally purchased them for. And like I said, I don't know. I don't know exactly how many harvests I've done because I haven't been keeping track of that. But I want to say it's maybe six harvests. Something like that. I don't think I've had to lime the fields more than 2 times. So I'm gonna go with 6. It might even be less than that, right? And the original purchase price was $105 and $32. Okay, and now they're worth 15, less than 16. Yeah, so it's just they're worth just under half after 6 harvests, let's say. Okay, so we'll sell the header and we'll sell the harvester. Okay. Yeah, so after about 6 harvests, those were worth about half. Now, if I get a harvester that's approximately twice as big, I'll be able to do the same amount of harvests in half the time. Same number of days, fewer hours. But I'm not sure what the effect of hours and days is on the sale price. But let's assume that if we use it 8 or 10 times for 8 or 10 harvests, that it's going to be worth half of what we paid for it, or half of the original value. I think we won't be too far off if we use that assumption. Okay, so I was looking at the RSM 161. This one is worth $299 or $301 if you go with wide tires. We'll just call it $300, and it'll cost us about, I think we estimated about $15,000, $16,000 per day to use it if we're harvesting every day. Might be less than that. And the header on that one is 9 meters versus the 5 that we have now. So it's almost twice as big. The next step up would be the ideal harvester, at least the next step up in header size. And that's the most expensive one we've got. Now, I've also got some mods here, which I haven't really looked at yet. We've got some class Lexion. Let's see where the headers are for those. Okay, so there's a 9 meter a 9 meter class header, and that goes with the Vario 900. What does that cost? There is no Vario 900. What the heck? Oh, I'm sorry. That goes with the 760 or the 770. I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so the class 760, 770, 321,000. Yeah, that's more expensive than the Russell mash. And the leasing costs are correspondingly greater. It is pretty nice though. Oh, you could put numbers on it. Okay. Now I'll stick with the vanilla for now. All right, so I'm going to lease the RSM 161. So at 16,000, we can use it about 8 or 9 times before we get to before we've spent half the original value on leasing. So our goal will be within the next 8 harvests to have enough to get our end game harvester. Okay, so we're going to need, if we get one of these, we're going to need about 500,000 for the harvester plus the header. So if we divide that into 8 harvests, or 10 harvests, let's say. So let's say we'll need to save. We'll need to save about 50,000 out of every harvest to get our new harvester. Okay. Now it would be nice if we had separate accounts that we could use to save money. So what we could do is every harvest, I'll just pay back $50,000 of the loan. And then when it's time for us to upgrade again, I'll just increase the loan and use that to buy the harvester. So that way we're kind of saving money by putting it in the bank, if you will. Okay. So now we've got the big brother of the harvester that we started with. It's got a much bigger header. It's got a much bigger tank, which means we'll have to empty it less often, which also means it'll be able to stay in operation longer before it gets full. So I think it'll allow us to move our harvest along much more quickly than we have done in the past. At least that's my hope. So we'll get the harvest started, and then we will hook the mowers up to the case, and we'll start cutting the grass on this field so that we can make silage bales. And hopefully this leasing won't kill us. Let's see, that looks like the right spot. Okay, now this one we do have to unfold. So we'll do that. I love the fact that this header has the integrated trailer wheels, so we don't have to mess around with a trailer. We do have to remember to fold it up. Okay, and I shut it off by mistake. There we go. And I'm going to drive it myself the first time around. And then I'll put a worker on it. Ah, that's nice. Actually, I'm surprised we got as far along as we did on the original harvester. I don't think I've ever gone that long on my first harvester in any of my other saves. But I have been buying fields and going to cows as early as I did certainly slowed down the progression a bit. Now this is a draper head, or a draper header, I should say, which I think refers to this it uses a conveyor to feed the cut crop into the combine rather than using an auger. So you can see if I can zoom in a bit. You can see there's a conveyor belt there that brings everything to the center. And on the headers that are not draper headers, it would be an auger, or a big screw, essentially. And I'm not really sure what the advantage is of one versus the other, but I suppose the conveyor might treat the crop a little more gently, and maybe you don't lose, because if the auger is kind of breaking up and chopping up the crop, then maybe you lose some of it on the field. I don't know. If anybody knows the comparative advantages and disadvantages, I'd be interested in hearing about it. I'm just speculating about it. I have to do this in third-person view because, especially with the larger headers like this, it's hard to get a good perception of depth in the game. So it's hard for me to tell where the end of the header is, and I don't want to miss anything and have to go back and get it again. So it's much easier to see if you're in the right spot in third-person view. Okay, tank's more than half full. So with the old harvester, we would have had to empty it already. And the weeds show up just as I'm harvesting. Okay, so we'll put the worker on there. I'm going to get the T6. Yeah, let me hook up this bucket, and then I'm going to detach the whole thing. I'm going to use the T6 to pull the tipper so that I can use the case for mowing while we're doing this. First, I want to change the wheels on this, though. Don't like the narrow wheels for heavy work. Oops. So we'll put the wide tires on it. I would have to pay $1,000 for wide tires, or nothing for wide tires plus weights. Guess I'll take the weights then. And it's probably almost time to start thinking about a bigger tipper as well. Maybe that TAW that I looked at last night, the AgriLiner, that one's holds about another 11,000 liters. Okay, so I'm going to wait for it to turn around, and then we'll empty it out. Okay, good. I'm glad I didn't have to go too far down that hill because it would be slow for me to pull it back up. All right, so I'll park at the crest of the hill here. We'll let that keep going, and we'll hook up our mowers. All right, I need to hook up the rear first. And I'm going to see how we do with a worker on the mower. Let me check the maintenance because I think these mowers might need a little bit of work. Yeah, the front's at 77%. I think we're fine. See if we can find the start of the field. It's a little hard to tell where it is. Looks like right about here. Alright, so let's hire a worker and see what happens here. Okay, looks good. And it looks like it's cutting down the weeds that are there, which is good. Hopefully those won't grow back. Okay. Does a pretty good job getting right up to the edge with both mowers. It actually might do even better if I put all three mowers on the front. No, that's fine. Okay. So we can let that go, and then when it's done, I can go around the edges myself to pick up a little more grass. And then we can also mow what's left of field 20. I didn't fertilize it, but it seems like since we have the mowers hooked up, we might as well cut all of it. It'll just mean more money for us. And then we'll bale these up and wrap them and sell them as silage. Okay, so in the meantime, I will take over the harvesting for a bit. Enjoy our new equipment. And then when we're done with this, what I'll do is I'll just accelerate time to the point that the cows are out of food, so that in the next episode we can work on selling off the cows and setting up the sheep farm. And we can have workers prepping our fields while we're working on that. I did a couple contracts recently as well, and on the PC there's a mod, I think it's called multiple contracts, something like that, and it lets you accept as many contracts as you want all at the same time. So I actually had it to where I was doing 2 contracts at the same time. which I think is pretty nice. So I was doing a harvesting contract with hired workers. That takes a little time. And while that was going on, at the same time, I did 2 fertilizing contracts. So I was able to get 3 contracts done within a fairly short amount of time. So I think that'll be a good way to make money in my downtime, or between episodes or whatever. I can run a few contracts and get some extra cash so we can expand more quickly. A few of the people that commented have mentioned that that they're kind of anxious to see bigger and better machinery make its appearance on the farm. So I'm going to try to oblige those viewers and get things upgraded as quickly as we can. Get to the next tier of equipment. Hopefully buy a couple more fields while we're at it. So now that we have a bigger harvester, I think a bigger seeder is also called for. We've been using that 6-meter Vaterstadt for quite a while. And I would like to upgrade to the 9-meter Horsch seeder. At least I think it's Horsch. Let's take a look. Yeah, the next seeder I want to get is, the Horsch Pronto 9. That one's 9 meters wide, and it will seed and fertilize simultaneously. So that would represent quite a nice upgrade from what we've got. But that one requires 280 horsepower, and neither of my current tractors have it. So we'll need a more powerful tractor before we get into that seeder. So I think that's what we'll do next. We'll do this harvest. We'll get the sheep. And then with the money we have left, we'll look at getting a larger tractor with, with at least 300 horsepower. Maybe that Deutz-Fahr 9 series that I was looking at before. And maybe we could sell the New Holland to do it. But first I'll have to check if the case can take a front loader. Then we could sell the New Holland and use that money to help pay for the new tractor. Although this New Holland might not be worth a whole lot of money right now, and if that's the case, it's probably better just to keep it, once the value drops significantly. There's not much point in selling it. Let's see what it's worth now. The New Holland is currently worth 44. Which is definitely less than half of what we paid for it. Yeah, so I think I'll just hang on to the New Holland. It'll be nice to have 3 tractors, actually. Because then I can do work like this. I can have another tractor pulling the tipper, and then I can use the New Holland for taking care of the animals or doing a fertilizing job or whatever. So, yeah, and I'll cut all this area here in front of the field. Looks like we're almost done. I think we're going to get a lot of grass off of here. Looks like we've got probably about 2 more passes left after this one. And this field is pretty much done harvesting, which is awesome. Definitely a big step up from the old one. Okay. And I'm going to cut across here and drive it over to the other field and get that started. Almost took out a couple of those signs. All right, off we go. Yeah, so we've only used it 0.3 hours for that field, so we might be able to get, I don't know, it'll be close. We might be able to get both fields done in less than an hour of use, but yeah, probably it'll be a little bit over. But that's okay, because we estimated 2 hours every harvest, and if we do it, you know, if we can do 2 harvests in less than 3 hours, then we're going to come out ahead, and that means that that'll give us more time to upgrade if we need it. Right, and I think I'll put in that $50,000 towards the loan right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 50,000. And that essentially, you know, we can essentially use the loan like a bank or a savings account, as long as we have a negative balance. And then we'll pay less interest too, which will help us out. Oh, it's still going. I wonder if it'll jump over into field 20. That would be cool. I should probably just join these fields. Let's see if it turns. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So I'll just let it go and it'll do this field too. Yeah, and I should probably just join these fields with a plow. I haven't done it just because I was planning to use this area to expand the farm. I don't know. I'll think about it. Actually, I'm thinking that when we get the sheep pen, maybe I'll put it at the back of the field here. And that way I can use the area between, you know, where the cow pen is. I can use that area instead to put a couple more sheds, so I can keep all the equipment fairly close together. Yeah, so I think I'll probably do that. When we put in the sheep pen, I'll move it farther back on this field, after we get it cut one more time. Okay. So I'm gonna collect from the harvester here on this next pass, and then I think we'll call it an episode. And this should just about fill up the tipper. Yeah, actually, let me jump in here, because what I want to do is turn this to go left and right now. No, on second thought, I'll let it keep going like this. I'll wait until all of field 11 is done. I'll let it go north and south until that's done, and then I'll turn it east-west to do field 13. See if we can do this from in cab. Okay, I'm missing something. There we go. I think I was too far away. All right, that's close to full, so let's see where we take it. Canola, best price is at the grain mill, which is, oh, it's very close by. That is very convenient. Actually, let's get the last little bit that it's got in there. Get as close to full as possible, and then I'm just going to take it over and sell it as I collect it. Once I have enough money that I can buy a truck with a big tipper, then I'll probably start using the silo more. You know, use the tractor to haul the grain to the silo, and then use the truck to take it from the silo to the sell point. I think that's generally the way it's intended to be done. But we'll sell this off. We should be able to get a little bit over 60,000 for it. And since we already put 50,000 into our harvester account, that means about 10,000 of it will be our first profit. This trailer is rather heavy. I think even it feels like the Joskin trailer, even empty, it feels heavy. I don't know if I'm going to dig around in the game files and see if I can figure out if I can see what the weight of it is and see how it compares to other tippers. But it just feels like a heavy trailer to begin with. All right, almost 62,000, and we still got probably we still have probably at least another 2 loads to go. So very nice. So, you know, we should be able to get close to 200,000 for the crops, as we have before. Because even though we added field 19, but now we're using field 18 for grass. So so the crop income will probably remain almost the same, but I should be able to get a lot more money from silage bales since I've got a lot more grassland now. So we'll see how this works out in the end. So I'll finish up this harvest, and like I said, I'll move the clock forward up until the point that the cows have consumed all of the TMR that they've got, and then we'll start setting up sheep. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Thanks a lot for the feedback after the last video. I really appreciate the input and the advice. It helps me out quite a great deal. So Thank you for that, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.